Alright, hello everyone, it's Happy, and today we're going to be talking about the Foch 155, one of the most fun TDs to a lot of players in World of Tanks Blitz. So obviously we're firstly going to be talking about the equipment, and here's my equipment. I do use the refined gun. Well, as you can see, everything on the screen is standard. I do use improved optics instead of a camo because obviously it's a Foch and I play close range. And therefore I don't really sit in a bush. If you guys want to use my equipment, you can stop the video and see for yourself. The consumables and provision are again standard. So we're going to be jumping into live games, and we're going to be talking about the tank at the same time. We're going to be playing 2 live games today. As usual, in the previous video, I didn't really want to mess up the session, more or less. So we're going to be moving towards the heavy side, and we're going to be supporting the heavies on the right side. And there are a lot of heavies on the enemy team as well. Just 1 medium and 1 TD. So the Foch itself is very dynamic. It allows you to get to positions quite quickly, as you can see there. Yes, a great example of how to get into position. The worst thing about the Foch is firstly the gun. The gun itself is only a 500 something alpha gun, 560 if I believe correctly, and for that the aim time and the accuracy are just horrendous. They're the same as the E3, which has an alpha of 640, if you understand what I mean. Of course, in close range, this tank is great. Can this guy stop it? This M4 is so annoying. He already made me miss 1 shot. As I was saying previously, the gun on this thing is not... this guy, he's really triggering me, and he's not really allowing me to explain anything. But the Foch to me is one of the worst TDs, but to many it's still a very fun tank. Of course, you have to aim down fully in order to get a 500 alpha shot, which is not great. If the aim time or accuracy was a bit more buff, or it was buffed, this tank would be much more playable in my opinion. But on top of that, the gun depression on this thing is only 5 degrees, and the aiming arc onto the sides isn't that large, and therefore a lot of shots like that are going to happen. The armor is quite good, but at the same time it is its biggest weakness. The tracks and the sides are super weak, and the sides can sometimes be even HE'd. So that's a very, very scary thing. The cupola is a weak point, and the lower plate is a weak point as well. And most of the time when people see a Foch, they just instantly load gold shells, and therefore the actual armor on this thing is pretty much removed. Therefore, I don't really find the Foch too fun. People say it has armor. I say no, because when people see it, they automatically load gold, and therefore it becomes white. There's no armor left. Overall, the only positive I found for this tank is the mobility, and even then, I mean, it's not a great positive for a TD. You know what I mean? The gun isn't the best. Of course, only close range. Sure, you do have 2 shells, but even then, that's not amazing, if you know what I mean. And the mobility is good, but the armor, again, is mediocre. It's not meant to be a heavy tank, of course, but it's still, the armor is very weak on everything else, except the front side, and even then people will instantly load gold. They won't try and shoot your lower plate, because why would they, when they can load gold and your whole face will pretty much be white. So yeah, I think this game is over. As you guys can tell, we only managed to do something like 3,000 average or something close to that, which isn't amazing. The game wasn't in our favor. And yeah, I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of this tank, and I wouldn't recommend it to a lot of people. But if you really want it, go ahead. I know I will get a little bit of criticism for not liking this tank. The second game, again, there are a few heavies on the enemy team. 3 as of now. As you can see, E100, IS-7, and the T-57. They have a lot of TDs as well, but very few lights and mediums. Therefore, we can pretty much push up, and we can support the heavies on the right side. Please don't go left side on this map. It's pretty much useless, and unless you're something like a light tank that's trying to flank, or maybe a medium tank that's trying to flank, which does have speed. Obviously, we're going to be coming into the standard bush here. And from there, as you can see, the Vickers has spotted a tank. And the 704 is quite stupid because he doesn't seem to want to move. There you go. The armor does work sometimes, especially because the 704 had AP loaded against us. Of course, against proper TDs like the YAG or the Death Star, we don't have any armor, and especially when tanks do come close up, like the AMX-50B, for example, if they do come super close to you, you really won't have a chance of blocking the shell. Here the E100 makes a mistake, and in this situation the Foch is quite strong. As you can see, the E100 did make a shot, therefore we can peek out, fully aim in, and give him 2 shots, because we have plenty of time. The E100 made a mistake, he was tracked and pretty much destroyed. There is a waffle on that side, so therefore we're going to try and put a few shots into him. 550 is decent, but again, if the alpha was close to 600 or the aim time was better, this tank would have been perfect, in my opinion. It would have been perfect, but it was nerfed far too much. Here, this light tank seems to want to harass me a lot, so I'm going to try and push him instead, just to make sure he doesn't do anything stupid here, because he's really annoying the crap out of me. Good night, bruv. And we send him to sleep. Now the 704 here, we're going to try and wiggle a bit, but again, he does penetrate us, because it is a TD, and it won't have too much, there's nothing stopping it from really penetrating us. Again, another weakness I just forgot to mention is the fact that the traverse speed on this thing is horrendous. Did you see the traverse speed just now? It was god awful. We cannot fall back, especially if there are a few enemies and you did the wrong turn. You will not be able to fall back in this thing. Here, the T-57 is not the smartest player, so we can wiggle a bit. And even with gold, he can't really penetrate us. There you go. He's making stupid mistakes, and he's going to get punished for that. So here, we put 1 shot into him. We already have a 5.6k damage on the Foch. And 1 more into the grill, perfect, 517. Maybe we can get a ram into him, and then we would have a bit more than 6k, but unfortunately not. So as you can see there, we did quite a bit of damage, over 6,000, if I believe correctly. What is it? 6,200 average. Not average, sorry, just damage. So yeah, that was the Foch, and that was everything I had to say about the tank. It is quite clumsy, it is quite fast, has decent armor, and a mediocre gun. So yeah, with that, happy's out, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.